That brief recess is now over. Thank you all for being so patient. And we are moving on to agenda number 9. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. The amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. All comments made will be cross-referenced to those specific items, and if anyone submitted a speaker card who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda, please come to the podium and state your name for the record. This is your opportunity to address the council, but the council is not able to respond or engage in dialogue, and we will set the minute. We will set the time at 1 minute. Good girl. Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor, City Councilman. My name is Steve Gramis. I'm the president of the Las Vegas Police Protective Association. Here for 2 reasons. One, speaking in support of Councilman Anthony and agenda item 55. I heard the comments before about the HOV lane, and I totally support the fact that this thing should not be 24 hours. We're forcing people into feeling like they're criminals because they're trying to use a lane that's totally open at 12 a.m. The enforcement action to Councilman's quotes, it's not going to curb people's driving habits. It's not going to add bodies in cars. It's just going to flat out make good people possibly get a citation. So we're in support of item 55. The other reason I'm here is we at the Police Protective Association, knowing that school is coming up, we wanted to run a supply drive for the teachers. A lot of times people do things for the kids, but the teachers got to come out of pocket for a lot of money for a lot of items. So what we're going to be doing up at our office up until the beginning of August, or I think the 31st maybe. Yeah, Wednesday, July 31st. We're going to be accepting items for middle school, high school, and elementary school. Flash drives, reams of paper, crayons, all that. If I could leave this here for you guys to maybe circulate, would be appreciated. And then what our goal is before school starts, actually inviting CCSD teachers themselves up to pick out what they need for the school year and take it. So we're working with as many people as we can, and I hope you can circulate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
My name is Frank Bingham, and I'm here to comment on item 79 and 81. 79 is the proposal of a 3-story building.
That's afternoon session. Will you be here after 11, at which point you would speak then? Because
my wife and I were planning to go out of town today.
Then go ahead. Can we do this?
Is that all right?
Clerk?
Is that
That's
all right?
fine. I've just gotten clearance. Make his comments for those two, 79 and what was the other one?
I'm sorry. I thought this was going to start at 9 o'clock. That's why I came.
No, you're fine. Just so you can get out of time. What is the other agenda item, 79 and what?
81.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay, 79 had to do with a 3-story building in our neighborhood, which is completely out of line with the rest of our neighborhood, and we're opposed to it. I see the staff is recommending denial of that also.
Could you give us your address, please, sir?
Oh, okay. 412 Estella, E-S-T-E-L-L-A Avenue.
And zip code?
89107.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to check with legal. Do we have legal here? Yes. Even though we have said there's no comment in this because he's leaving town, Councilman Creer would like to make a comment. Do we have to do anything special to allow that?
If the councilman wants to make a comment back, he can. Yep.
Okay, fine.
Thank you,
so
thank you,
please
Mayor.
make your presentation.
Okay,
let him go. Or are yours preemptive of this?
No, unless you finish.
I apologize
Please, Frank,
for coming up early, but
go ahead.
Anyway, we would oppose the 3-story building in our neighborhood, which is completely out of line with the rest of the buildings there. I noticed that the Planning Commission is recommending denial, and I would certainly concur with that. The other item on 18 is to really...
81 or 18?
What's that?
The other one being...
Is 81.
Thank you.
81.
Okay.
Which really is a recommendation to change the zoning from low to medium. Back in 2014, we fought this issue back then. They wanted to change it to medium, and we went around and we got, in fact, I have copies of that, of 146 people that in our neighborhood that signed a petition to oppose that zoning change. And if you'd like a copy of that, I've got it here for you.
Well, we would like that submitted to the clerk, and then also I'm going to have Councilman Creer respond to you, but I do think if you have not been into his office with your documentation as well, it would be very worthwhile for you to make an appointment with Councilman Creer when you come back to town.
Okay. So as I say, we're opposed to that. That's changing it from low zoning to a medium zoning, and we opposed that in 2014 with this document that I gave her, and so we're opposed to it now.
Thank you very much. And Councilman Creer did want to respond, which I will ask him to do.
Thank you, Mayor. Just through you, I just want a point of clarification. They aren't going to build a 3-story structure. It's a 2-story structure, and they were going to put balconies on the outside, and they were going to take those away, so it's not as intrusive to the neighbors that are right there along the border. And I don't think we can go into conversation about it, but I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay.
So that's good news.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And any further questions, please call Councilman Creer's office. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Cody Cunningham, and I am here in support of 55 of removing the 24/7 restrictions on HOV lanes, for the reason being that we are taking 20% of our lanes and dedicating them to about less than 12% of our daily traffic. And so this isn't about convenience. This isn't about a green initiative. This is about a system of compliance to write tickets, to generate revenue for a state that has grown out of control. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Okay, we will now move on to agenda item number 10. For possible action, these are business items. Any items from the 9 a.m. session that the council staff and/or applicant wish to be stricken, tabled, withdrawn, or held in abeyance to a future meeting may be brought forward and acted upon at this time. Mayor Pro Tem.
Madam Mayor, there are no requests to be considered under this item at this time.
Thank you very much. We will move on now to agenda 11. For possible action to approve the final minutes by reference to the June 5th and 19th, 2019 regular city council meetings. Mayor Pro Tem may have a motion to approve the minutes.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the minutes of the June 5th and June 19th city council meetings.
Thank you very much. Please vote and please post. Those motions carry. Thank you very much. We will now move on to items 12 through 50 in the consent agenda. 12, now let me just see. Okay. Yes.
I would like to make a statement.
Certainly.
Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Seaman.
So before we get to the consent, I want to make a statement. I do not wish to pull this item from the consent agenda, but I do wish to comment because it involves a matter greatly affecting Ward 2. That matter, of course, is the ongoing dispute over the Badlands Golf Course and the future of that property. This dispute, now entering its 5th year, is impacting residents, development, and ultimately business in my ward. My hope and desire remains, as I expressed during this past campaign, for both sides of the dispute, the property owner and the surrounding homeowners, to come together, compromise, and reach a resolution that satisfies all parties. I will do everything in my power as the representative of everyone in Ward 2 to help achieve such an outcome. In the meantime, I must also do what's best to defend the citizens of Las Vegas, their tax dollars, and the actions taken by the City Council and city staff. Therefore, I will support this additional funding request for our outside legal counsel who is defending the city in the Badlands litigation.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. And could I have a copy of your statement, which I know I can get through the city clerk, but at some point I would like to have that for my records, please. Okay, so items 12 through 50 on the consent agenda are considered to be routine or recommended for approval by the departments and may be enacted in one motion. Note that the record should reflect my abstention on items 24 through 27 because they pertain to medical marijuana-related businesses, and one of my sons is involved in that industry. I'll be voting on all other items. Are there any items that council wishes to bring forward? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion for the consent agenda, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to approve items number 12 through 50 with no exceptions.
Thank you very much. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. And before we move on, and that consent agenda passes unanimously. Before we move on, I'd like to take a moment to bring item 28 to everyone's attention, which I'm going to read. For possible action to approve a liquor manufacturer license for 75 Brewing Company, LLC, DBA 75 Brewing Company, LLC at 1510 South Main Street in Ward 3 with Councilwoman Diaz. And the city just approved a license for that brewing company. A partner in the company is with us today, coming forward already, in fact, forward. It's our very own Golden Knights, Ryan Reeves, and we are so thrilled. Beautiful. We're so happy and proud you're making this investment in downtown. You will never regret it, I can assure you. And I'd like to ask you, comments yours, you've already passed. We voted it done, so you're in, and congratulations.
Sure.
Thanks for everything that you're going to make the statement first, I guess. Okay.
Mr. Reeves is going to make the statement. I just want to thank the city, the mayor, as well as the staff in terms of your hard work. Tim O'Reilly of O'Reilly Law Group. On behalf of the applicant, Mr. Reeves does have a few statements.
Good morning, Mayor Goodman, City Council members. Thank you for having me here. I'd like to thank everybody that's been involved in this, your staff, the Metro Police Department, the licensing department. They've been nothing but professional in this venture that I'm going on right now. I'd like to thank Councilman Anthony. I don't know if you can add anything to the consent agenda, but I think a vote needs to be passed to have a little upkeep in his office. A lot of Detroit Red Wing stuff in there, right? Yeah. I don't think that belongs anywhere near Las Vegas.
Whoa.
My company, as Tim said, is 75 Brewing. The number 75 holds a lot of meaning to me, as it's the only number I've worn in my 10-year career in the NHL, along with the 2 years with the Golden Knights. We plan on brewing with Abel Baker, who is here today, who I'd like to thank for helping us launch this brand. They've been really good to us. I'd like to say that this company is not a celebrity endorsement. While it is about me, it's also about the great people of Las Vegas. I've only been here for 2 years, and I've realized that the city has so much culture and so many stories to tell, and through our branding and marketing, we plan on telling a lot of those stories and bringing the city with this company. So thank you for having me, and look forward to it.
We're very proud of everything the team's been doing, Mr. Foley and the entire administrative group, and every eye is on you all the time. You know that. Tell us just a little history of where were you born, and where did you go to school, and how long have you been practicing to get where you are today?
Practicing hockey or the beer?
Well, we know one of them's going to last an awful lot longer than the other one.
Yeah.
So make sure you concentrate on youth right now and keeping yourself healthy and not too much fattening beer.
No.
Tell us, born and raised
Can't be
where?
testing the product too much. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, up in Canada. Icy cold city, gets to about -50 in the winters. I played juniors in Brandon, Manitoba, which is about 2 hours west. I was drafted by the St. Louis Blues. Made my way up in the ranks. I played for St. Louis for 7 years. I got traded to Pittsburgh, and then made my way to Vegas, fortunately, which is the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yes, amen to that, let me tell you. I would never leave anywhere else. So.
No. This is actually the first year that I haven't gone back to my hometown for the summer. I call Vegas
Well,
home
if
now.
your mother and father are there, your mother, either one of them are family, go back home just briefly.
Yeah.
But anyway, Councilwoman Diaz, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to echo the mayor's sentiments and welcoming you to Ward 3, to the downtown area. We're excited that you're part of the team that was born and raised here in Las Vegas, because I'm born and raised. I kind of have been cheering you guys on with your amazing seasons, and I know that you've captured our hearts and you've brought us together as a city that's more united. So I really feel that you'll bring that spirit as well to your new establishment. Welcome, and I wish you the best of luck, and Ward 3 offices are here to help you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and just know that we're here to help you along in all that you do, and we cheer loudly, and so thank you very much.
I do appreciate that.
for
Thank you.
coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know, as we move on to agenda item 51, and hopefully, and I'm sure he will, but Scott Adams, I just want to make a comment. We are having another retirement here in the city. A good friend to all. Oops, I think he's doing it. I will shut my mouth. Because I was going right where you're going. This lovely lady, Karen Duddleston, who's been in government and family and everything, and we cherish her. So I will say no more, and you've got gifts, so what can we do? Mr. Scott Adams, please.
Good morning, Mayor, members of City Council. Scott Adams, City Manager. I hijacked my own agenda item today for an emerging issue, which is very dear to the hearts of everybody at the city and in the city manager's office, and that is the fact that tomorrow is Karen Duddleston's last full day in office before she retires off into the sunset, and I understand will do the world tour with her husband, just like the Rolling Stones and U2, as she described it. I don't think there's going to be much of this planet that will be untouched after they get done. But I really wanted to take a moment to recognize the major contribution that Karen's made to the city, and it has been substantial. Karen started here in May of 2011 as our business planning manager. She was later promoted in December of 14 as our deputy planning director, and then promoted in July of 2017 as chief community services officer. Karen truly changed the way business licensing is done in the city of Las Vegas by making it more customer friendly, cutting down red tape, and being more efficient. When she started with the city, there were over 460 business license categories in the city. And a few years later, she was able to cut that number in half and reduce the time it took to get a license from 20 business days to 5 business days.
Awesome.
Just an incredible effort. And for the first time under her administration, applicants were able to apply for their business licenses online, and was responsible for moving a large share of our business licensing activity to an online system, which is really bringing it into today's way of doing business. She also tackled one of the city's most challenging licensing issues, which was the marijuana industry. So as you know, that's been a difficult industry for us to deal with, to license, to manage, and she oversaw that entire process as we worked through that. But aside from those administrative accomplishments, I think one of her most enduring things that she will leave behind in terms of her legacy is the countless hours that she spent mentoring her team members and team members throughout the city. She has spent a great deal of time in working her staff through challenging situations, developing their talent, setting examples for leadership, and imparting strategic thinking to help them solve some of the big issues that we face here at the city. So I wanted to truly thank Karen and recognize her for the contributions she's made here at the city. I understand her husband and her family may be here in the audience, and I wanted to present her with a token of our appreciation, a city flag, and it's very simple. City of Las Vegas, Office of City Manager Karen Duddleston.
Can you do it from the microphone, please?
Chief Community Services Officer, 8 years of service. And another bouquet to add to the many that, if you look at her desk, it looks like the winner's circle at the Kentucky Derby. She is a winner and deserves everything that she will get in retirement. She's worked hard. The interesting thing about Karen, because I was involved in interviewing her years ago when she started with the city, her city tenure is the end of a very long and illustrious career in public administration, where prior to that she was with the state treasurer's office, and then prior to that with Clark County. And so she has a very long and distinguished career in public service. Karen, congratulations.
Your Honor and City Council, thank you. It's truly been an honor. I was not going to let these flowers get to me today. I've spent 22 years in the professional public administration. I've got to serve at the county level, at the state level, and I saved the best for last. I owe you all a great debt for making my career such a pleasure. I can't tell you that I absolutely love coming to work every day. To Scott, thank you for giving me the chance to work with the most incredible professionals that I've ever worked with in 22 years. And to my husband and my family, my son is here, Andrew. We've raised 3 children here in Las Vegas together. They're all graduates of the Meadows School. I was a Meadows mom before I came here. He's let me pursue my dreams, whether those were in the boardrooms of the charities in this community, whether they were in our government, or whether they were raising our children. He's been there for me every step of the way. He now claims he can support me with a travel habit, so I'm going to take him up on the offer. Thank you so much, and to my family, thank you all.
Karen. No way. Karen, I have to say something. Karen and James and family. A lot today, the whole world seems a little bit confused, and we're hearing certainly an awful lot from the softer sex as being very strong and involved, and there's an inference somehow you have to choose. You are an example and a role model that you can have it all. You can have it all. You can have the family, you can have the professional life, you can make a difference. And you have never been a blowhard. You've never been somebody, me, I, my. James, you are so lucky. And your family, your daughter, your sons, if they knew you as long and as well as I have, you're a woman to be admired for the goodness that you have done, not only bringing up such a great family, but for what you have done in government throughout our community and state. I admire you. I cherish the friendship that you have extended to us and to so many, and for the accomplishments you've made, the changes that have come about because of your tenacity, but your sensitivity too, in different phases that are too long to go into, of government protocol and structure and how to follow through on things. You're just a magnificent role model for women, for moms, for wives, for individuals, for an intellectual person, and a very giving soul. And so on behalf of, I know I can speak for council and some who may not know you as well as I've grown to know you these past 20-some years. God bless you, and may you have a wonderful, wonderful retirement. And I'm sure that Scott will always find a way when she gets bored, James, you've been working all these years, and taking care of children is no easy task. You may get bored, and we're here. And I just want to stand personally and thank you very, very much for all you've done.
I'm actually pretty close neighbors with Karen up in the Northwest Area Command, and I saw Jim over there, and every time I walk by their house walking my dog, I see this massive barbecue complex that is going up in his backyard. So when it's done, I expect to have a big barbecue out in your backyard so we can all commiserate a little bit. And thank Karen for all her work. So I'm looking forward to that, Jim. Thanks.
Thank you. Travel safely, enjoy the cruise. We'll all be thinking of you with drooling. Okay, as we move on, Mr. Adams, was there anything more in your report?
No, ma'am. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item 52, discussion for possible action regarding the Neighborhood Partners Fund, NPF, board recommendations to allocate $67,487.47 for 17 neighborhood projects. This is general fund funding, all wards. And so we have with us, I will let you announce yourself.
Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you today. And if I may, Mayor, take a little prerogative and say publicly, thank you, Karen. I am one of those staff people that she mentored. And I have not had the privilege of knowing her as long as you have, but I have had the privilege of being as influenced by her. So I want to say publicly, thank you very much for your mentorship, for your leadership, and for your friendship. You will be missed. Now, thank you, Mayor.
Your name?
My name is Kathy Thomas Gibson. I'm the Director for the Office of Community Services, and I'm here today with Mr. Greg Toussaint. We are going to present the recommendations for the Neighbors Partnership Fund matching fund program in our neighborhoods. And just a quick overview before I turn it over. So this partnership fund encourages neighborhoods to take active roles in their communities, and you have allocated dollars to support activities related to physical improvements, public safety, cultural, recreation, and educational programming, tutoring that align with your strategic priorities for our community. Each neighborhood association or homeowners association is eligible to apply for up to $5,000, and they match that with either cash, volunteer labor, in-kind donations, or professional services. So with your support for over the past 20 years, this program has created more than $4 million of investment in our city neighborhoods. A $1.3 million investment from the city has yielded $3.3 million in community matching investment, and I think that's a good return on the dollar. This year, the board is recommending 17 neighborhood projects with over $67,000 in matching funds. And I don't know if you all have this backup, but I'll provide this to the clerk to ensure that you have the correct backup to match. I'm going to turn it over to our board chair now, and he will do the overview of the board and go through the recommendations that we are presenting to you today.
Morning.
Good morning, Mayor, City Council. For the record, I'm Greg Toussaint, 2408 Sunset Beach Lane, Las Vegas, Nevada. And I am this year the chair of this year's Neighborhood Partnership Fund Board, commonly called NPF. It's been really a great pleasure to serve on the NPF board and learn about these exciting programs in our city. There are some very creative people, community volunteers, who have applied, as they do every year, for the Neighborhood Partnership Fund grants. I'd like to take a moment to recognize my fellow NPF board members and thank them for their participation. The NPF board is comprised of 6 staff members and 7 neighborhood volunteers appointed by the mayor and city council offices. The members reviewed and evaluated all the projects, and that's a lot of paper, not paper images on the screens, over 200 pages of material we received from the applicants that had to be reviewed and evaluated. So they did a lot of work. To start, I'd like to thank our Vice Chair, Jordan Sandecki, for her contribution. She's a former Ward 2 staff designee, and she did a great job. Starting off with Ward 1, I'll introduce the board members by ward. The staff designee was Ann Kilponen. The neighborhood representative was Shelley Walters. In Ward 4, staff designee Sally Christensen. Neighborhood representative Gail Quayle. Ward 3, staff designee Ido Iturralde. Neighborhood representative Estela Silva. In Ward 2, as I mentioned, Jordan Sandecki, and as the staff designee, neighborhood representative Cherise Holmes. Ward 6, staff designee Chance Bonaventura. Neighborhood representative Larry Schultz. In Ward 5, staff designee Tanya Jackson Renter. Neighborhood representative David Kress. Let's give them a big round of applause. They really did a great job. I have to thank Mayor for your reappointing me to this board. This is my 7th year of service on this particular board, and serving my community by participating in this really gives me a sense of making a contribution, and it's a welcome and challenging experience every year. So thank you.
Thank you for serving. Appreciate it.
The success of the NPF fund requires strong outreach. Hundreds of neighborhoods throughout southern Nevada, or Las Vegas city limits, I should say, require need to be contacted and encouraged to join this effort. This involves city staff, Council Alma Estrada in particular, to put together these promotions to promote this program. And they did a great job, and we're very appreciative of what they contributed. But our board members would also like to thank Alma Estrada in the Office of Community Service for her many things: program coordination for the board, patience, which was the big thing for us. She has patience of all the people who apply. She's got to deal with all those people, and all the people on our board asking questions and getting answers. So we thank her very much. She's a real asset and critical to our success. So the NPF board members recommend 17 NPF projects for fiscal 2019-2020 in the following categories: 1 landscape improvement project, 2 security safety projects, 1 community garden project, 1 beautification project, 2 mural projects, 7 social gatherings, 1 doggy cleanup and doggy bag station project, 2 street signage projects. Let's look at each of the groups. Arville Oakey Neighborhood Watch Association, Aurora Top Neighborhood Association, Buffalo Coalition Neighborhood Association, El Camino Community Association, James Down Towers Resident Council, Las Vegas Meadows Limited Resident Community, McNeil Estates Neighborhood Association, and Palomino Gardens HOA, not and, Rainbow Family Park Neighborhood Association, Spanish Oaks HOA, Beverly Green Neighborhood Association, Huntridge Park Neighborhood Association, Desert Shores Community Association, Desert Shores Racket Club HOA, Turning Point Community Association, Cultural Corridor Coalition, and the Manetta Lane HOA. These are some really enthusiastic neighborhood leaders, I have to tell you, who really want to do something good for their communities with our help. This program creates a lot of different kinds of programs, and very interesting as well, designed to make a positive impact. So every one of these projects impacts a community in a positive way. my fellow board members and I recommend these projects for council approval.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Ms. Thomas Gibson.
Thank you.
Okay, these are all wards, so Mayor Pro Tem, let's go for it.
Madam Mayor, I motion to approve this item.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve this item. Please vote and please post. Please go ahead. Yes, just the button on the right. You go ahead and make a comment. Okay, please do. Councilman Knudsen.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I just wanted to make sure that you know as a board that I spent a lot of time in the ward and Jamestown Towers in particular. I told them that I could help them with their application online because they needed a little bit of extra help. And I thought that I could do it because I used to actually manage this program. I also served on the board for 2 years. And when I actually started doing it, I realized that I was way outside of my scope of experience. And so my commitment to them was that I could, that if the city did not or the NPF board did not award them, that I would personally help them with their requests. So by passing this today, it saves me a really awkward conversation at home. So I'm very grateful for the decisions the board made. So wise choices. Thank you.
So we could save some money for the city? Is that what you're saying?
Wonderful. Any other comments? Thank you. That motion passed unanimously. Thank you for the hours and commitment and generosity of spirit that you continue to show in this project that we're involved in. It certainly has paid off in spades. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Motion
support.
carries. Okay, we will move on to agenda item 53. Discussion for possible action regarding a request for a massage establishment license for Yang Tang, Hong Fong, Wu Lu, DBA Sam Spa at 6340 West Charleston Boulevard, Suite 130. This is in Ward 1 with Councilman Knudsen. Good morning.
Good morning, Mary McElhone, Deputy Planning Director, and I too would like to congratulate Karen Duddleson. I also received a lot of help from her. I stepped into her shoes as a Deputy Planning Director, and she paved the way for my success. So thank you, Karen, and congratulations. So before you today, we have item number 53. Sam Spa applicants Hong Feng Wu Lu and Yang Tang are here before you today to request a temporary massage establishment license. They first appeared before City Council on January 16, 2019. The background check had not yet been completed, and staff could not verify the source of funding. City Council at that time denied the requested temporary establishment license and wanted the Metro background check to be completed. That background check has now been completed. The Metro report was received on June 6, 2019, with an area of concern. Both applicants do have clean criminal histories. However, the source of funding could not be verified with either applicant. Ms. Yang Tang had a friend in China borrow money from her, and that friend wired the money back to her from China in October 2018 for $17,200, but it could not be verified. Ms. Wu Lu had money given to her from a family member for $70,000, and that money could not be verified either. On July 9th, last Thursday, Ms. Tang provided wire information and the identification of the person who wired her the $17,200 from China. Ms. Wu Lu provided the Charles Schwab account documents where the $70,000 was withdrawn from. She also provided a promissory note showing she had borrowed the money from her sister-in-law, Ms. Betty Wong, with the intent to pay it back at 3% interest. While the additional documentation given on July 9th still does not provide absolute verification, it does provide a better understanding of where the money came from. This location has been licensed as a previous massage establishment that operated without evidence of prostitution or human trafficking and operated with very little compliance issues. The applicants are here today with their attorney, Mr. Mitchell Bisson. If you need any assistance with the recommendation, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you want to make a presentation, or would you repeat your name for the record, please?
Yes, it's Mitchell Bisson, and I'm from the law firm of the Colliser Law Group, right downtown with Matthew Colliser. And we represent the applicants here today, Ms. Tang and Ms. Wu Lu, whose son is here, Lee Tsai. He is going to be a key manager. If this gets approved, he's going to apply for a key manager and help run this business. I mean, it is correct. They are seeking simply a
And
6-month...
can you speak closer to the microphone?
Thank you, Mayor.
Please.
They are seeking a 6-month temporary massage license for this location. They are here to answer any questions you may have, as well as myself. During the lead-up to today's hearing, there was an issue with potentially the source of funds, but as Mary has stated, we did provide some promissory notes and some wire transfers from a Charles Schwab account. So we do believe we've satisfied any concerns as far as whether this money is, legitimately received of any sort. I'd just like to say that my clients are serious, legitimate business owners. They've already invested approximately $50,000 into the location, the equipment. They've already bought a bunch of materials. I know, like the stones for the massages. They've got all this all bought and prepared. As, again, Mary has stated, there has been no history at this location itself. It's not one of the problem locations in town. And in addition, the applicants themselves don't have any criminal history. They have familiarized themselves with the Las Vegas city ordinances involving these massage establishments, as well as Nevada laws. They've done that with the help of my law firm. We've gone through all the ordinances, made sure they're aware of what the law requires, and that the high standard they're held to. So they do understand that this is a privileged license, and they just ask to be given an opportunity to prove themselves, with the understanding that any slip-ups, any issues whatsoever, the rug could be pulled out from underneath them and this license could be revoked. So they understand that, and if there are any further questions, they are here, and we are here to answer any questions or concerns.
Thank you very much. A couple that I have, and I'll certainly pass it on to council for any of theirs. What are the major cross streets of the the massage parlor?
I believe it's Charleston and Torrey Pines.
Okay. Hours of operation?
As of right now, they're allowed to be till 10. I think they're planning to be open till 10. They're still in the process of hiring the actual massage therapists as well, so depending on the availability of them, that'll determine the hours of operation as well.
How many days a week?
I believe it's going to be 7 days? Yes. 7 days a week.
7 days a week until 10 at night?
Correct.
Okay, I gather it's all been submitted and is part of the record.
Madam Mayor, yes, this establishment is allowed to operate between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. unless you would impose additional restrictive hours.
Okay, and does the family or the owners own any other establishments in Nevada, anywhere in the unincorporated Clark County, anywhere in Nevada?
Mayor Goodman, they do not. Ms. Tang emigrated to the United States in April of 2016. She did hold a job for a period of time here in Southern Nevada, and Ms. Wu Lu emigrated in 1998. So she's been here for a while, but she does not have any work history, I believe.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions, comment before I turn this over to Councilman Knudsen?
If I may, Ms. Tang, I believe, wants to make a statement.
Please, absolutely. Welcome.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Councilwoman. I'm so sorry because my English is not good, but I want to try to speak English, let you know. We spend so much money. We wait so long time. We tried too hard. We need to discharge. Yeah, I will open some spa with my hair. I wish do best customer service. Please trust me. Please give me a chance to prove ourselves. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Well, we know your heart's in this, so Councilman Knudsen, if you could bear to be not affected by this, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the presentation, and to the city staff, Ms. McElhorn, who was able to sit down and spend time with me so I can familiarize myself with your operation. We met a few days ago, and I appreciate what I believe to be positive intentions in bringing business into the ward, and so I'm thankful that you're willing to take a chance on us, and you speak much better English than I speak Chinese. And so with that being said, there are some concerns that we have talked about at the guidance of city staff. And so what I would do is hold you accountable for your good intentions going into business. And for Mr. Bisson, you made a commitment to make sure that the owners are very familiar with the city's codes and ordinances, the state laws, and I will hold you accountable for that as well. Like I told you, I will remember you.
Yes.
So please make sure that everyone is familiar with what the rules and guidelines are. And with that, I would make a recommendation for approval of a temporary massage establishment license with the authority of the director or designee to issue a permanent license if there are no compliance concerns for the first 12 months from the date of issuance of the temporary license.
Thank you very much. There's a motion to approve 6 months temporary and followed up if there are no issues for licensing. But they will come back at the end of 6 months?
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, I think the motion was for 12 months, even though Mr. Bisson had mentioned 6 months. And just to clarify, we can do 2 6-month licenses through City Council. I would recommend the 12 months that we leave them on as a temporary for at least 12 months, rather than just the 6. If you just want to do the 6, we can bring them back in 6 months. But that is certainly council's decision.
And I would move forward with the motion as I made it with 12 months with the regular inspections from the city's staff with any issues, giving the authority of the director to change that.
Thank you, and that is the motion. So
Madam Mayor, I just have one comment for my colleague. And,
yes, please.
And I'm not telling you what just a point of, we can ask for a 1-year review as well. You can either have a staff review who can say that they reviewed it after the year this would happen, or you can have a council review where they actually come back in front of council in order to say this has been good, and then we can extend it or what have you. Just it's your decision, it's your motion. But many times we do that, especially since we've had some issues with new massage establishments.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem wanted to make a comment also, please.
Thank you. So I'm very excited about your business, and I know my staff is listening, so I'm going to, if you can give me your phone number once this gets approved, I'm going to have my secretary, Felicia, make an appointment, and I'm going to come and get a massage to support your business because I believe your heart is in it. So I'm going to come and schedule a massage with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Business.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, there's a motion. Please vote, and we need Councilman Creer and Knudsen, please, to vote, and please post. You're in business.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, council members and
Thank
mayor.
you so much.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Congratulations.
Good. Okay, we'll move on to this week. We will move on to agenda item 54, resolutions R32-2019, public hearing and discussion of possible action regarding a resolution establishing an environmental surcharge pertaining to the collection of solid waste and recyclables, residential recyclables. This is a public hearing which I declare open. And Ms. Duddleston, this is your last hurrah?
It is.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Please go forward.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you stated before you today is a resolution establishing an environmental surcharge for the collection of solid waste and recyclables within the city of Las Vegas. In 2017, the City Council entered into a new franchise agreement with Republic Services for the collection of trash and recyclables. It's a 15-year agreement and implemented single-stream recycling, which was accomplished in October of 2018. And this agreement also provides for the adoption and implementation of an environmental fee and an optional franchise fees. Specifically, it allows the City Council to impose a surcharge of up to 5% of the franchisee's gross receipts for the following purposes: remedial action, removal, or related activities at a solid waste disposal site, environmentally sound solid waste collection and disposal, other environmental programs and activities as may benefit the public health, safety, and welfare of this community. We've spent time with each of you as City Council. As you know, across the city, we are seeing increasing environmental and health cleanup issues. We're seeing them on our streets, vacant lots, in public rights-of-way, including parks, storm drains, trails, and alleys. It's not isolated to one part of the city. We're seeing it across all areas of the city. These are a particular impact on our neighborhoods. The debris on streets create conflicts for pedestrians and hazards for vehicles. Accumulation of debris on open lots and in parks are creating vector control issues, fire hazards, and general safety concerns. In our storm drain, the debris places our clean water municipal storm water permit and our public at risk. Debris in public infrastructure poses a risk to the public's investment in flood and infrastructure improvements, and environmental health issues impact the people using these affected areas, those of your staff that are trying to address the cleanup of these areas, and the general public. Health and safety issues of encampments, accumulation of debris, and dumping impact our alleys, trails, public lands, and the environment, as well as our adjacent neighborhoods. This shows you the response that in 10 years ago, we were picking up 300 tons of trash and debris. 5 years ago, it was 600 tons, and this year it was over 3,000 tons. In your staff time, it's gone in 2009 from 3,000 hours, 5 years ago, 4,000 hours, and this year over 28,000 hours, and with the additional cost of $250,000 in materials and private contractors. So the rate at which this is increasing over the past 10 years is of great concern. The new revenue to the city would be implemented as proposed in this resolution, would be implemented October 1st, 2019. In FY 2020, with a 9-month implementation, it would raise a little over $3 million. For a full year in 2021, it would raise a little over $4 million. The resolution is specific that this would be placed in a special revenue fund for environmental programs and activities that benefit the public health, safety, and welfare as determined by the City Council. The impact to our residents on a residential rate, this would go on your trash and garbage pickup rate. Quarterly increase is about $2.28 a quarter, and what that equates to is about 78 cents per month. The fees that are generated from that special revenue fund, could be considered by the City Council for clean and safe city programs, and I've listed some of those that you may want to consider in the future as you work through, if you adopt this resolution today, anything from the courtyard sanitation, enhanced services to reduce encampments, cleaning and abatement activities on your trails, parks, streets, and alleys, coordination with the state or other entities on right-of-way areas, a private property support program to actually go in and increase the livability in our neighborhoods by proactively cleaning up lots, mitigation efforts to reduce the debris that's entering our streets and infrastructure, and security upgrades to that infrastructure and to our parks to prevent the debris from entering our systems. With that, staff's here to answer any questions, and I know this is a public hearing, Your Honor.
Right.
So I'll step aside.
So looking at staff for input, questions that you might have, but let's go ahead and open it up as a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to make comment or ask questions regarding agenda item 54? Okay, I will then close this item and turn it to council. Any comments, questions here?
I do.
Yes, please, Councilman Greer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to reiterate, from this video you saw the amount of waste that we pick up, the amount of just things, and as you drive around the city, and many of us have seen encampments and a lot of debris that is left behind. If you look at what is happening in our ward in Ward 5, every single day, our guys are out, our team is out, our operation maintenance team is out, just picking up debris. My office gets calls daily regarding debris that is left on sidewalks, that's left in storm drains. If you look at what happened over at Owens and B in that area with a huge encampment, and it was just so dirty and so much debris right in the middle of the flood culverts that's there, that we came in and redid our F Street corridor. The list goes on in our ward, downtown area. And so this is not something that I think anybody wants to try to pass on an excise tax or anything, but it's needed. We have to do something. We have to continue. We have to push forward with this. And so I am in full support of it, and we actually need to find ways to find more innovative, creative ways to find ways to enhance this. And so this is a public safety issue. It is a public safety hazard. We haven't had a major outbreak of hepatitis or anything like some other cities have. That's because we've been trying to keep up as best as possible on this. But if we do not, believe me, we will have outbreaks. We've had issues of our metro officers, in LA for LA has a Skid Row Task Force, which is located in downtown LA, 0.6 square miles of the area, and they have 66 officers that are dedicated towards working towards nothing but the on this task force in Skid Row. And their offices have had all types of health outbreaks and things that are going on. We cannot get there. So we have to do something, and this is a way to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes? Councilwoman Diaz, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and I too see a lot of what my colleague, Councilman Creer, sees in his ward, as we are very close in proximity, and we do deal with the day-to-day encampment issues and tons of remains after the encampments are moved, and I do see the public safety issues, the health concerns, and the city is in dire need of a source of revenue to ensure that when we hear from our constituents, our neighbors, that we can expedite resolution of those complaints. If we don't have the bandwidth, if we don't have the capacity, I can get the calls, but we won't have the ability to respond or to bring resolution to much needed help in our communities. And for this reason, I am also in support of the resolution.
Thank you. Yes, Councilman Knudsen.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to comment on, I think it's incredibly creative of what the staff did, and while I'm very supportive of this effort, I would comment, as I do many, many times at the city and when I was on the campaign and before working with the nonprofits, that this is a temporary solution to cleaning up some really hard issues within our community. And my hope is that as a city, we spend quite a bit more time looking at the systemic issues and challenges that plague our community that result in homelessness. And so while I recognize this funding is necessary to clean up some immediate solutions, it's the long-term strategies that I would like to spend more time focusing on. And I'm thankful for Republic for being that avenue for finding some additional revenue for this incredibly intractable problem that our community faces. Thank you.
Councilwoman Seaman.
Yes, thank you. So my comfort level in supporting this is just knowing that it's going into a special fund specifically for the cleanup.
Your Honor, if I might, the resolution is specific that it goes into a special revenue fund for health safety programs. Those would be determined by the City Council.
Thank you.
And Councilman Anthony?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, there's no doubt that there's a problem out there. We need to clean places up. It's in all the wards. It's up in the Northwest. There's encampments up there. We need to clean these places up. The issue I have is first of all, the actual agenda item, the way it's written. It says, public hearing, discuss possible action regarding a resolution establishing an environmental surcharge pertaining to the collection of solid waste and residential recyclables. So, I mean, when I first saw that, I had no idea what that meant until we had our briefing yesterday. What it should say is, a public hearing and discussion for possible action on raising people's residential and commercial trash bill by 5% in order to do X. So Scott, when we do these agenda items, we need to be a little bit more transparent. When people just read this, I know it's probably in the backup material, but we need to be real clear on what the agenda item is. So when people read it, they have an understanding of what we're talking about. So this is basically the first hearing that we're having, talking about taking a person's trash bill, which is about $45 a month, something like that, or every 3 months. And every 3 months, $41, $42, and we want to increase that. Republic's not increasing it. The city of Las Vegas wants to increase it in order to generate revenue that technically has nothing to do with their residential pickup. It's generating revenue to clean up other places. And you make a good argument in the franchise agreement that this is kind of a public safety issue, but I can't support this today. We need to do some outreach to residents to let them know that we're interested in raising their trash bill by $3 or $4 a month. And this is what we're specifically going to spend it on, and be very clear on that before I can vote on this. So if we do public outreach and everybody says, great, I'm willing to pay a couple extra bucks for this, then I'm all in. But if people are saying, I don't want to pay attachment to my bill to do this, you should be getting the money elsewhere, then I need to take that into consideration. So this is a great public hearing today to discuss it, but I'm not going to be able to support it until we get some public input. And David, you're probably going to have to help us with that. I mean, I need to know what people in Desert Shores are thinking of, up in Sun City, Painted Desert, you know, the other wards. Is this something that they're interested in doing, or is it no way, I don't want to do this? And so I think we need to have a pretty solid discussion about this before I'm ready to move forward on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As I concur with my colleague, Councilman Stavros Anthony, and I always have a really tough time increasing any fees or taxes. I think when I look at my garbage bill and this environmental need that we desperately need as the city, and I look at my garbage bill, and we as a whole city, it's our responsibility to keep our whole city clean and safe. And I will tell you that my garbage bill will go up approximately 68 cents a month, which is less than $10 a year, to help pick up 600 tons of human matter, debris, things that are going into our water systems that we haven't touched on. And I'm in full support, and I'm going to make a motion for approval on item 54.
Okay, any other comments here? One of the things I'd like to ask before we vote on this, I know in China they have been the repository of recyclables, and I know they are pushing back now to say we're reducing dramatically all of the recyclable. This is only in reference to recyclables and only for residents, not for business?
No, this does not address recyclables. This is on the gross revenue of your franchisee. So your trash bill is for trash pickup and recyclable pickup, and the percentage increase will go on to that. So it's not directly related to recyclables.
Even though this mentions collection of solid waste.
The franchise is for solid waste and recyclables.
Okay.
It's the title of your agreement.
Okay,
with
and
them.
what is to preclude this coming back for another increase within, is this 5% over the next what? How many years? And
15.
I know when we, if I may, when we approved the extension of the Republic contract with us for the 20 years we extended. And we, having lived in the heart of the city for over 40 years, to see the modest amount we do pay for this pickup. Just wondering, is this something now going forward that the city's going to ask of our contracted pickup? Will that change? Is this for a period, are you suggesting this in perpetuity at 5% or increasing incrementally over a period of years or what?
Under the contract, the environmental fee can only be up to 5%. So it would run the length of this contract.
So is that the 20 years that we've extended Republic?
It's 15 years from 2017, so it goes to 2031, I believe, when you would renegotiate. Republic Services does have built into that a CPI increase annually, comes on the 1st of July. They also have clauses in there if they have unforeseen economic situation that they can come back before the City Council and prove that they've had an economic change in circumstances and discuss their base rates with you. So there are mechanisms for them to come back and have that discussion with you. But on the environmental fee, it would run the length of the agreement, 5%.
For the next 20 years?
Correct. Unless the City Council chose to do a new resolution if they did not need it at some point in time.
Okay.
Henderson currently is at 4.2%. July 1st, 2020, they have already adopted a resolution. They will be at 5% environmental fee as well.
Okay, please.
What about Clark County, North Las Vegas?
I do not believe that Clark County and North Las Vegas have that fee in their agreement with the franchisee. It is something that actually the environmental fee, when we were working to negotiate that, it was actually brought to the table as an opportunity by the franchisee in those discussions. I do not know if they have it for sure in those other two entities as an option for their councils to consider.
So if this passes, the City of Las Vegas trash bill would be higher if you lived in the city than if you lived in the county?
I would have to check those rates and exactly where they are in those rates and what kind of CPI rates that they have, but we can certainly get you that information. But theoretically,
Probably, yeah. It would be because they don't have the surcharge and we do.
Right, yeah, and Henderson does, and they have implemented it. Their rates are currently higher than ours.
There is no more comment on this. There is a motion on the floor, and just from my way of looking at this issue, I think Councilman Anthony has really spoken clearly to residents about really wanting to hear from the constituency, which I agree with philosophically, but in actuality, knowing that we have to attend to it, it is a responsibility of our city government. I would imagine the county will follow suit if Henderson is there and moving forward to do this by next 2020. I see it only as something that we absolutely have to do. What do you do with those mounting pounds and pounds of cleanup that have to be taken care of? So I had been thinking that maybe we needed some more input and some more data. But in listening to your comments and the questions and statements from the council, I will be in support of this. I just want to make sure that next year the council isn't coming back and saying, well, that we were wrong in our assessment. And I really would be very much opposed to a return to this same concept because something else has occurred and that we are going to add another 1 or 2% next year or the year after. So just making sure this is, at this point, unless it is locked in to us for the next 17 years at this point, with either Republic or the city coming back to the board here with good reason for any change.
Correct. That is the contract allows the city council the surcharge for environmental purposes up to 5%. which is
Okay.
what your resolution implements today. Any other rate increases would have to be justified by Public Services under the clause in the contract and in your ordinance, and they would bring those back to you, or they would request to go back to the negotiating table.
But this is us, the city, asking for this. This is not Republic asking us to do this. This, in fact, is the city saying, we want to respond to keeping a healthy, safe community is what we're doing here, and that any other from the company that they would have additionally is their business.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. So as long as we're clear on that, there is a motion, and any comment, any other comments down here? Okay. Please vote and please post. Okay, thank you very much. That does pass. And I think it's clear that this is something we do need, but I want to make sure it's clear this is a city initiative, not a Republic coming to us to ask for this. So let's go on to agenda item 55. And this is R 33-2019, discussion for possible action regarding a resolution opposing the 24/7 enforcement of high occupancy vehicle lanes on Interstate 15 and US Route 95 and supporting the return to peak hour enforcement in reference to all wards. And someone from our attorney's office is going to make comment here before I turn it over to a big proponent of this.
Jeff Dorkak, Deputy City Attorney. No comment really necessary from our office. The resolution's in order and ready to go. I believe Councilman Anthony's going to do most of the comments, and if there's anything needed, I can come in.
Well, I would ask you to explain to the viewing public and anybody here, including myself, what is a resolution? What is a resolution? What is the impact of it? And is it enforceable or just a support comment?
Sure. Well, this resolution just expresses, if passed, the opinion of the City Council that they are in opposition of 24/7 enforcement of the HOV lanes and would like to see a return to peak hour traffic enforcement. That's 6 to 10 a.m. and 2 to 7. As we discussed a couple months ago with a presentation by our office in Public Works, the city does not have much control over HOV lanes or the highways, and this is one option that the city can take, which is to offer a policy resolution to the State Transportation Board and let them know what the City Council, as the elected representatives, thinks of the current situation. And as a result, the resolution was requested by Councilman Anthony and will express opposition, as I said, and support for a return to pre-24/7 enforcement. And if it passes, we will send the resolution off to the State Transportation Board and let them know that the elected representatives of Las Vegas think that the current situation isn't good.
Thank you very much. And as I turn this over to Councilman Anthony, I ask you, how wide a range is this? Is just the city border? In your comments, because I know you'll make comments, how far does it extend, et cetera? So please, Councilman Anthony.
All right, thank you. First of all, I want to commend the Nevada Department of Transportation for this Project Neon that they've been working on for, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years. There's definitely been inconveniences, but that's normal. That's part of, this is the largest public project in the state of Nevada. So we're coming to the end of it. It's actually coming in under budget and ahead of schedule, which is accommodation for the Nevada Department of Transportation and all their partners. And they've done a wonderful job adding lanes and pavement and exits and entrances, and they've done a lot of road work, not just on the freeways, but in the arterials in the city of Las Vegas. They've done an actual wonderful job, and it's going to have an improvement on traffic. The one problem, though, is the HOV lanes. When these were first put in place, people became very upset because these lanes were paid for by taxpayers, and they were frustrated because they couldn't use them. Only a certain group of people could use them. And it was really being created to try to get people to carpool, to try to change their driving habits. In fact, that's what people say about their carpool lanes. The reason they put in there is to try to get them to change their driving habits. That's not going to happen in Las Vegas. People like to drive in their own cars by themselves to get where they are. Then they created these massive flyovers, which are absolutely wonderful. There's the Summerlin flyover, there's the Spaghetti Bowl flyover. These are massive structures, but they're HOV lanes, so only a few people can use them. And if you look at them during the day, during rush hour traffic, they're pretty much empty. They're just not being used. They're kind of a waste of a lane. And again, people got a little ticked off about that. So what ended up happening was people were just using these roadways as a single driver, hoping they didn't get caught. And we're creating people that are violating the law because they got to get somewhere. And these lanes are open, and they want to get to work, and they want to get to school, so they do the risk and reward factor, and the risk of getting caught is a lot smaller than the reward of getting somewhere faster. So people are using these lanes primarily are single drivers. They're not carpool drivers. So we're creating this kind of this group of people that are violating the law. But when the HOV lanes were eventually created with a certain time period that they were HOV lanes. They were restricted to the morning and they're restricted to the afternoon, Monday through Friday, which meant that the rest of the time people could use them. People could use them on weekends. And that seemed to be kind of a happy medium. It didn't really have a lot of folks that were upset about that, as long as they could use them sometimes. And again, if people wanted to take a chance of not getting caught, then they would do that. Then the HOV lanes were changed to 24/7, completely restricted, 24/7, and some heavy enforcement happened. And that's when the bear was poked. That's when people got really ticked off that these lanes were not available to them as taxpayers, and that's why we're here today. The bear got poked very badly, and I have seen nothing but frustration and people upset on Facebook, on Twitter, on emails, on letters I've received. People don't like this situation, and they don't like the way you get in and out of these lanes. I mean, they're a double stripe white lane, and there's only a certain way to get in, there's only a certain way to get out, and then if you're getting out, you got to try to get over to the right lane so you can exit. It's very confusing. And I think what would really help people and would kind of calm things down a little bit is if we just went back to the restricted times, where they're restricted in the morning, they're restricted in the afternoon, and the rest of the time these HOV lanes are available. And you know, we can get into the science and the experts. I can pull up all kinds of studies that say HOV lanes are a waste of time. They don't deal with congestion, and there's studies that say they do, but we're not really going to get into that. I'm not going to. This is strictly the people in the city of Las Vegas, especially up in the northwest part of the valley, because this is really what this primarily deals with. It deals with the city of Las Vegas. It deals with 95 from the northwest to the Spaghetti Bowl, and then the Spaghetti Bowl to on I-15 to Sahara. That's what this resolution is asking, is that those roadways go back to the limited times for HOV enforcement. And I think people would be happy with that. I think that would be a good start. If it was up to me personally, I would get rid of them completely. But I think this kind of compromise is something that I think the Nevada Board of Transportation would seriously take into consideration, because they were like that before. They were changed to 24/7 without our input. I mean, we weren't asked whether or not they should be 24/7 in the city of Las Vegas. It was just changed, and we were informed of it. And I just want the Nevada Board of Transportation, who are made up of some good people, they need to understand that the residents of Las Vegas, especially the ones I represent, want the restrictions limited, and I'm hoping that the City Council sends a message to the Board of Transportation that we as a city as a whole are interested in doing that within the city limits. And you know, we heard from the president of the PPA. I'll tell you, I talk to police officers all the time because I'm retired, and they have no interest in enforcing HOV lanes. They are interested in going to places where accidents are occurring, where people are getting killed and injured, and doing speeding enforcement and right-of-way enforcement. HOV enforcement doesn't save lives. It doesn't have any safety issue at all. It's just basically enforcing a public policy that somebody came up with, that they wanted 24/7 HOV lanes. So our city attorney explained the resolution pretty clear. That's exactly what it says. So when you're ready, Mayor, I will make a motion to support the resolution, and we'll see what happens, and I'll be quiet.
Councilwoman Seaman, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So during my campaign, I heard so much opposition about the 24/7 lanes that I actually made HOV lanes part of my campaign. And I agree with my colleague, Councilman Anthony, that all taxpayers pay for our freeways, and they should be able to use them. And I also agree with the LVPPA that enforcement 24/7 of HOV lanes will not really help the environment, but rather create unnecessary enforcement and citations. So for that, I do support that we go back to the hours and take away the 24/7 on the HOV lanes.
Thank you very much. Councilman Creer, anything?
No, Madam Mayor, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I support this wholeheartedly. When I look, especially from the Northwest, and I urge my colleagues to support this as well. We have a very long drive into the city, and we generally don't leave here, council chambers. I mean, the three of us girls left here after 6 o'clock last night. So Councilwoman Diaz and Councilwoman Seaman and myself. So I know we rode down the elevator together, and when it's late, I think that we should be able to use those lanes. It's very frustrating not to have those open. And some of the written goals, when they change those lanes to HOV, I disagree wholeheartedly with. They wanted to create congestion to make it uncomfortable for us, so we might be able to carpool. And I would say, if anyone wants to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and come to my house, or I can come to your house and pick you up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, because that's when I start my day. And if you want to ride downtown with me, I'm totally willing, but I just haven't found a friend to do that with yet. So I would urge you to support this resolution so we can go back to the way it was.
Thank you very much. With the councilman is not here, and that councilwoman is okay. Certainly those of us who live in 1, 3, and 5, I mean, I live in 1. I never am on the freeways unless I'm going elsewhere. One of the things that I can see as I come back and forth to work or drive around town, certainly in certain areas and further out, it may make data collection easier to see how it works, and NDOT has to work through that and see if it pays off. I would tend to agree with Councilman Anthony here that in the long run, were these, through traffic all the way back and forth to LA, if we can ever get more lanes added to the Barstow to State line, which we've been screaming for years, with Caltech and NDOT's working with Caltech trying to get them to do it, so we can get traffic moving faster. That's the whole purpose, is to get it flowing more easily. But for anybody who is outside the city or going into the city and then going back out from the city into the county, it really shows how difficult this has become. I'm sure they're collecting data. I sit on the RTC Commission, and I don't see it at this point. It is a learning experience for all of us, but exactly as Councilman Anthony said, you just sit there in the packed lanes watching nothing happening except a motorcycle is allowed, a single person on a motorcycle is allowed in the HOV lanes, and of course trucks are allowed in the HOV lanes. So I think as people who live here and have lived here for any length of time, I think we could design a better way to get around. But I do believe that NDOT is working with the best data they have to do the right thing, but I have to support this inside the city, whether you're coming and going back and forth to Henderson on the 515-95, or whether it's out to the west and to the northwest. I tend to agree that this is something to return to the working hours and the most congested. But for 1, 3, and 5, we all live so close to the heart of downtown where we're working, or for others going back and forth if they're working in the inner city communities and wards, they probably are using anything but the freeways. So there is a motion made by Councilman Anthony on this resolution, which of course our attorney has explained, so let's vote and move on. All in favor of the resolution, please vote and please post. And unanimously wrong, Councilman is okay.
Mayor, I just want to thank the City Council for supporting this resolution. You're speaking for the people here, so thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing this forward to us. So now we are on agenda item number 56, and that's R34-2019, discussion for possible action regarding a resolution adopting the downtown Las Vegas open space and trails plans, and this is the fabulous wards 1, 3, and 5. And hello, Mr. Summerfield.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, members of the council. This morning, I have the pleasure with this resolution to bring forward one of the key implementation items of the 2045 Downtown Vision Plan. With me is, from my staff, is Sydney Noytz, and joining us is our consultant, Steve Knowles from Design Workshop. And they're going to run through a real quick presentation on what the new downtown civic space and trails plan does. And I do want to point out, we do have a new name. And so with whomever makes that motion, I imagine it may be one of our downtown wards, maybe Mayor Pro Tem, since it crosses multiple wards. I would just like to incorporate in that motion that approval of the resolution subject to changing the name, but we can get to that at the end. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Sydney from my office, and he will give a brief introduction, and then we'll let our consultant walk us through the planning process on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Summerfield. Welcome back.
Mayor, City Council, good morning. Sydney Noyce with the Department of Planning. This plan is really an outgrowth, as Robert said, of the Vision 2045 Downtown Master Plan. And after engaging in visioning workshops with City Council, our department took on this project. In the Vision 2045 plan, it states the need to establish a green infrastructure network that more than doubles the current amount of parks, trails, and open space in the downtown area. In order to strategically address this need, our department would like to propose adopting this Downtown Civic Space and Trails Plan. And now we'll turn it over to Stephen Kwong from Design Workshop.
Good morning. Is this working? Steve Knoll, Design Workshop, Mayor Goodman, council members, city staff, those in the audience, as well as virtual that you described earlier today. I'm the principal of Design Workshop. We're a landscape architectural land planning firm based out of State Line, Nevada. We've actually worked with you before on your Las Vegas North Plan previously. Kwong Shin, my colleague here, have been very fortunate to work with the staff, with the community, stakeholders to come forward with this close to 100-page document, which I'm sure you've read every page, correct? And I'm going to go one by one page, no, just teasing. Today is just a high-level overview for you to get acquainted to it. Keep in mind this has been posted on the city website for close to 4 to 6 months, so there's been opportunity for people to comment on. So the fact we're coming forward to have this adopted is based on the fact there's public input throughout and that it's been available for comment. Oh, you have to remember that. Yeah. So, like I said, over the last 18 months, we've been working with a large group of contingency groups, I always have a hard time with that word, to kind of help and shape this plan. And what it is a framework for you to make decisions as you move forward. Nothing to this plan is cast in stone. It's just more saying these are ideas, and with each idea that is out there, there's some opportunities for each of you within the wards that are affected by the downtown area to have some ideas moving forward. Early in the process, some overall goals were set. Things such as attractive and comfortable spaces came to the forefront. Environmental, cultural, and economic value brought to these park and civic space improvements, as well as establishing a safe and welcoming environment for not just those who live, but also visit this area. And to support those goals, there was a number of objectives that were established. And really, again, economic value is important. Art and culture came front and center many times as every year this community becomes more rich in that aspect. Identifying opportunities for public and private partnerships, which is something you've already done here, and it's really one of the methods across the country that some of these public spaces are built and managed, as well as enhancing the outdoor environment. Also very important was the connectivity between this area and the broader community. So a focus on trail connectivity regionally and within each one of the districts. Simply the process was to collect and review existing data, documents, this existing facilities, parks, those type of things. Again, had a very robust public outreach process, and then through that established some criteria and some design recommendations. With that, we drafted a series of reports that went back and forth, and today we have a final for your consideration. So this diagram really represents what was called the planning districts in the 2045 vision plan, and we consolidated some of them because they had some like-kind characters and made it much more simpler to identify these in broader perspective than each individual planning area. So this kind of shows you that, for instance, the downtown core include what was described as a civic and business, Symphony Park, Market Corridor, and resort and casino corridors in the 2045 vision plan. So we're going to kind of quickly go through each one of those. The downtown, what we call the downtown core, is really the majority of the employment base when it comes to civic center, civic venues, the resort element, and those kind of support businesses that really are actively on a daily 9 to 5 effort. You are starting to see a big increase in potential residential, but because of the cost of value of land, it's going to more than likely be high density type of development. The value of land here is quite a bit more, obviously. So recognizing the opportunity for public-private investments, as well as you do move forward with some sort of improvements, you'll probably see a higher cost to build these, but recognize it brings bigger value in different ways because it is for larger group gatherings, more urban context, really the civic plazas that you see in other communities that the downtown area does not have right now. Of course, I'm just talking really high-level recommendations right now. The next one we call is the Downtown North. In contrast, this is the historic West Side District has a lot of available land that is there for future investment as well as potential park improvements or recreation improvements. Because of the land, it has in the layout, it has historically been a neighborhood type thing, families, that type of thing. So the types of parks and facilities that you'd probably see that would occur in here would be a little bit different than the downtown area, the downtown core area. In addition, Cashman Field, which is a big commodity for the city, there's some opportunities to start to create some of the more regional aspects that might support whatever reinvestment that happens there, whether it's city-driven or public-private investment opportunities. Downtown South is kind of an interesting industrial area that's evolving into the art district. You can see that on a regular basis, and the opportunities here is, again, recognizing that right now, snapshot, there's not a whole lot of population, people living there, so it's more of a day-use type of urban environment, plazas, open spaces, but as the community starts to grow, then have to revisit that to see what type of improvements those type of residents and dwelling units would need to support those improvements for park facilities. Downtown East, of course, is a historic entrance into the city. You're all aware of the Fremont improvement project going on, so that's really is going to be a kind of a spark to reinvestment along that corridor. So this plan recognizes that and says there's opportunities to embrace that. There's been mention about different parades and things that currently go down there. So recognize as these more events become popular that this corridor and this area could really embrace that in a broader capacity. And then finally, the medical district, pretty straightforward. There's a lot of professional offices and businesses occurring there. UNLV has some presence there. Again, not a whole lot of population initially, but you're starting to see more of those residential property projects come forward, and with each one of those, there's some opportunities to provide some outdoor space and amenities that would embrace the whole district itself. So the next steps after this document, there'll be a prioritization of the recommendations, and then of course always the tough one, allocating funding. But as I mentioned earlier, there's always the opportunity to look at the private sector to assist the public in some of these endeavors because it is a win-win in many communities, and you've experienced it here as well. In any case, as you have done in the past, and I encourage you to continue, is public engagement throughout the improvement. So as a project comes forward, of course, there'll be public engagement for each specific area, which really then fine-tunes those kind of recommendations to what the specifics would be needed for each one of those new facilities. Then, of course, maintenance operations isn't addressed in this document, but the city is well aware that these are issues and ideas that have to be flushed out as things become forward. So just to recognize that this wasn't left off the table, but recognizing that's some of the next steps as well. And with that, I hope I didn't leave too much out. Just open for questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Summerfield, how would you like us to proceed on this? I'm not sure, Mr. Georgiak, is this a public hearing item? Is it a public hearing item?
It is not a public hearing, but obviously you can open it up for public comment.
Okay. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to comment on this? Of course, this is ongoing. It's a project forever in planning and moving forward and changing, but anyone? Okay, I'll close the public comment portion. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Summerfield.
So, Madam Mayor, we of course are here to answer any questions. However, if there are no questions, then I would just ask that you approve this resolution. As a part of the motion, I would just request that the plan be identified going forward as the Downtown Civic Space and Trails Plan, and we will make, on the published version of the document, we'll make the necessary changes to incorporate that title change. With that, myself, the consultant, we're available for any questions.
Thank you very much. I mean, this looks wonderful, and the updated front page, as I told my staff, it looked like somebody spilled water on it, and you couldn't see it.
We're already looking at alternatives.
Okay.
We're looking at alternatives now. So before we do the final publish.
This is Vegas,
yes.
Right. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Councilman. Please, Knudsen, please.
Thank you for the presentation. I've been aware of a lot of these planning systems over the last 10 years, and I've been, as a resident, appreciative of the city thinking forward. One of the opportunities that I saw, especially connecting the medical district to the arts district, the demographics in that area have shifted dramatically, and I think the folks moving in, including myself, want to be able to walk from the medical district to the arts district. It's only a couple of miles away. When you go into the Charleston overpass, the welcome into downtown Las Vegas says bump, because it's a traffic indicator, and I know that has nothing to do with this particular item, but I think it's important to comment on how great we're making it for tourists to come into the downtown by beautifying the Las Vegas Boulevard and entry into downtown for tourists. But as we think about parks and open space and trails, I think connecting our districts for locals is equally as important. So I'm grateful for this and would like to start my advocacy for more of a welcome to our locals into the downtown more than a bump sign. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, yes, Councilwoman Diaz, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and I too have heard from many of my residents that they want to see more open civic areas. I'm trying to refrain my own vocabulary to the new way we're referring to it, but they're craving these spaces. They want to be in their hometown, being able to walk so that our carbon footprint is not as heavy or intense when we're only within, under a couple of miles of distance. And I think that a lot of people are thinking about the overall benefits to their health. Sometimes we're kind of in our own spaces for long periods of times, and how beneficial walking is, just to our overall health and well-being. So from that perspective, and then not to mention the beauty that it adds to have more natural landscapes where we can kind of peruse through and admire the beauty of our city. That's just like a little cherry on top. But I'm so excited, and I hope we can get more of these public-private partnerships going so we see it coming together in a faster way. Because if we've been talking for over 10 years, we need to make sure that we're able to implement it as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Councilwoman. There are a couple of things I know that we've been chatting about, is what the definition of civic space is, what's a space. I know your predecessor was very big on pocket parks and how that integrates into the whole. I know for myself, who drives around this community, all of it, the unincorporated area as well, all the time. I think one of the advantages, and I look to Mike Jansen, who's the head of Public Works for us now, is traffic flow and synchronization of lights to get us to move around. And I don't know if that's a small piece, any piece, or becoming a piece of the future, because I choose Charleston specifically. If you stay on the speed limit, you will just keep going and not stopping. Whereas Sahara, because it's half city and half county run, and maybe it's somewhat coordinated, but the reality is how anything that's going to be a plus figures into this overall moving document to help us promote how great it is to be in the city. And I know I've been texting our city manager that this plan, and it looks, having seen a paper copy, a hard copy, looks really just a wonderful job in the works, and the photography excellent, and it looks like we are becoming world-class. It's taken a long time for us to even to get to where we are today with the combined effort of the staff in the various departments. So I'm very excited about it. And so as a motion, I'm going to ask Mayor Pro Tem to make the motion, but are we able legally to include the name change? Is that, or do we have to put that on another council meeting?
Yeah, that's fine. We can do the name changes right now as amended to what Director Summerfield suggested.
Okay, thank you. So if you would, Mayor Pro Tem, unless there are any other comments? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So with that, I'm going to make the motion to approve item 56 with the amendment of the name change.
Perfect. That's it. a civic space. And so all those definitions as we go forward too, because we have obviously become very focused on what something means over these past months, what the word civic means, what does it include and exclude, open, I mean, we're going through all of this. So there's a motion, please vote, and please post. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's very exciting, very exciting. Thank you so much. Oh, my. I should read all this? I should read all this. Okay, boards and commissions, item 57. You know, could our attorney read this? I'll double check while you're doing it. It's a lot of names and committees and commissions and names and more.
I will give it a go.
Thank you.
Item number 57, discussion for possible action regarding new appointments of Mayor Carolyn Goodman and council members Michelle Fiore, Stavros Anthony, Cedric Creer, Brian Knutson, Victoria Seaman, and Olivia Diaz as representatives on the following boards. Chief Local Elected Officials Consortium, Diaz. City of Las Vegas Audit Oversight Committee, Knutson and Seaman. Commission for the Las Vegas Centennial, Creer. Debt Management Commission, Seaman. Las Vegas Springs Preserve Board of Trustees, Seaman. Metropolitan Police Committee on Fiscal Affairs, Creer. Nellis Civilian Military Council Executive Board, Fiore as alternate. Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, Knutson. Nevada League of Cities, Knutson. Oversight Panel for School Facilities, Diaz. Regional Flood Control District Board of Directors, Goodman and Anthony. Regional Transportation Commission Board of Commissioners, Goodman and Anthony. Southern Nevada Enterprise Community Board, Creer. Southern Nevada Health District, Diaz and Knutson. Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, Diaz. Southern Nevada Regional Planning Coalition, Seaman. Southern Nevada Water Authority, Creer. And the Yucca Mountain Nuclear Repository Committee, Seaman.
Thank you very much, and I would add just a correction. It's my understanding that Councilman Anthony will be serving along with Councilman Creer on the, now I've lost it. Anything to do
The Metro
with,
Fiscal Affairs?
Yes, yes. I just want to make sure. Oh, right. He's staying on. We don't have to reappoint. Okay. So this item is calendared after each election cycle to update appointments. Not all seats intended for the City of Las Vegas representation require adjustment at this time, apropos of you sitting on that committee, and the backup should be referenced for that information. So I move to approve the appointments as read and indicated in backup. Please vote on the motion. And please post. Well, thank you all for offering to serve on those committees, some of which may not be your preference, but we are forever waiting for feedback, so enjoy. And some of them don't meet at all yet, but they are still on the table for the entire state. Okay, agenda item 58, discussion for possible action regarding the reappointment of Audrey Aiselin and Brissida Castro to the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada, RTC Advisory Committee on Bus Bench Shelter Construction and Maintenance, and that's my motion to approve them, please. Please vote and please post. I'm punching away here. It's not letting me just record me as a, yeah, there it is. Just fine. Thank you. And that motion carries. Agenda item 59, discussion for possible action regarding the reappointment of John Parazzo to Ward 5 seat of the Senior Citizens Advisory Council. May I have a motion? Councilman Creer, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move for approval.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve agenda item 59. Please vote and please post. And that motion carries as well. We'll move on to agenda item 60 for possible action regarding the appointment of nominee Sigal Shatta to the Ward 2 seat of the Planning Commission. May I have a motion, Councilwoman Seaman?
Yes, I move for an action to approve.
Thank you very much. There's a motion to approve. Mr. Chuta, please vote and please post. That motion carries. And we are now on to recommending committee report. Recommending committee, bills eligible for adoption at this meeting, bill number 201919. City Attorney, would you please read the bill?
Yes, Mayor. Bill number 2019-19, an ordinance to repeal LVMC Section 19.10.105 pertaining to the repurposing of certain golf courses and open spaces and to provide for other related matters.
As soon as we finish the morning agenda, we would, I think. Madam Clerk, are we to be in closed session? We will be.
Yes, you will be going into closed session, not necessarily for this bill, but...
69 forward if they're going to go into closed first.
Yes. Would you like to pull 69 forward?
Well, I was going to say, just because of these bills eligible for adoption at this meeting, yes. Okay. Are we able to do that?
Yeah.
Go into closed session now?
Yeah, if you guys would like to, we'll pull forward the closed session, and then you want the bills all done after closed session?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay.
Okay, so we are going into recess for how long then?
Do you want to read item 69, the closed session item, Mayor?
Okay, closed session, closed meeting is called in accordance with NRS 241.015CB2 to receive information from the city attorney about potential and existing litigation.
And just to add on, Deputy City Attorney Jeff Dorkek here, we expect this to be about an hour-long closed session, just for the audience who might be here for the 11 o'clock items, and obviously we're going to come back to do the bills too, so just as a heads up.
So in a way, hopefully this will move things even along better. Okay, so we stand recessed.